Hello, dear
Mhm.
Nadishana. Happy to get you because you told me you are in the Kaukasus, and we can talk a little bit about this project you are into. This wonderful trio together with the musicians from Hungary and from France, Peter Somos,
Mhm.
percussion, and Silvian Barou. And
Mhm.
invited this trio because he is an excellent personality. I mean, every one of the musicians is very special in his instruments.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you.
Yeah. Interesting thing for me is that you play this instrument handpan, or it was founded only 20 years ago in Swiss as called hang. And
Yes.
I wrote, I read that you was working on a new way of playing this instrument. You are very interested to have more possibilities with the harmonies, etc. So maybe
Yeah.
can you
Yeah.
tell a little bit about the hang and the speciality of your hang playing and producing new hangs? This would be interesting for me, and I think also for the auditorium.
Yeah. So for me, this instrument, as I understand it, this represents a new group of instruments which I call melodic finger percussion. And usually, all melodic percussion, such as xylophone or marimba, vibraphone, they are all played by mallets, and handpan is played by fingers, which is
Mhm.
completely different story because we can adapt many percussion techniques to this instrument, and if you use fingers and your hands, there's much more articulation possibilities. So we
Okay.
can expand expand the vocabulary, and we can expand the range, the array of possible sounds enormously when
Mhm.
we play by hands, So that brings this instrument apart from other melodic percussion.
Mhm.
And for me, it's also kind of very, let's say, in a way, very folklore instrument because one handpan has only one scale, and that also is very similar to some folklore flutes, for example. They have only one scale.
Yeah, but you play
So there's
sometimes
some
three of them.
limitation. Yes, and to kind of get through this limitation, I'm using three instruments same time
Mm.
on stage to to be chromatic and to play some chord progressions which are not based on diatonic scale.
Mhm.
So that is also a possibility, and well, this is like a very new thing, considering instrument culture in general, because it's a new group of instruments, and
Mhm.
so it's kind of revolutionary instrument, in my opinion,
Okay.
and we need to develop it. So it's like we need to create a culture of this instrument, and we need to create a way of playing, or many different ways of playing. Some group of people should work on that, and I'm one of these people. So I'm working on my kind of techniques and my kind of approach to this instrument, and which is using all 10 fingers to play, and including split hand and this wrist long techniques from Iran, and innovative ways of approaching this instrument in general. It's like that.
Mm.
So it's, for me, it's a new field of exploration, and the community of this instrument is growing enormously around the world. And right now I'm on the workshops we have this a week of workshops in Russia in mountains dedicated especially to this instrument, and we have a group of 38 people here to study with us.
Wow!
And it's really wonderful to be here in this family, and yeah, the interest in the Russian community is really big for this instrument, and people are very serious about studying, and they can. The level is really great here. The level of participants is amazing.
Okay.
They play very complex stuff, which I throw on them, like odd time signatures, interlocking, polyphonic playing, like really advanced stuff, and they can follow me. So, this instrument is getting its momentum, and it's growing a lot. And I'm happy to be part of this, and I'm happy to be a guy who is developing the new way of playing this instrument.
Okay. With the trio, this special trio, you play with one percussion player who plays, let's say, a synthesis of different percussions. And you play with a flute player who is playing, I think, 50 or 80 different flutes, from Celtic flute to Siberian flute, to duduk and things. So you are coming together in this big family of percussion and flutes. And you say in the interview that there is a special thing going on in the way you bring percussion and flutes together. Can you explain a little bit what is the speciality in this trio going on in this, how do you say, in this familiar way of these different instruments?
Well, it's just, for me, it's very hard to find the bandmates. I'm looking for special people to play this, and those people should be kind of multi-talented in the way that I see it. So, for example, the drummer is he's a very unique guy. He's basically one-man rhythm section. So he plays drum set with his left hand and with his right hand and two legs, and with left hand he plays bass line on keyboard in real time. So that is like one-man rhythm section, and this is for me it's really important to have this kind of musician in my band, because we also improvise a lot, and when he's always tight with himself, let's say, because you can play really complex, odd stuff, and in this case, your kick drum is always together with your bass line, because you are one man who plays that. It's some kind of special musician thing, but it's important thing. He is also multi-talented percussionist. He's playing Rick, and he playing percussion and frame drum on really high level, and he plays all these complex time signatures and stuff, and all these techniques. So he's a very unique person. He also knows jazz harmony, and we listen to a lot of similar music, which is cross-cultural approach to music. Some mixture of Western and Eastern music, and some fusion between jazz and traditional music, for example, which is kind of rare specialty. And the flute player is also outstanding, amazing, genius guy from France, and he was able to master such a contrast instruments like uilleann pipe, duduk, and bansuri on very high level, which I think it's unachievable in one human life. And he is such a musical soul. He understands music on very deep level, and it's very similar to my understanding. Like, I see we have very similar approach in a way,
Mhm.
and we understand each other's path, you know. So we are also very good friends, and we can catch up in, like, you know, on stage easily with these three guys to just, you know, even just improvise, for example, or we understand language of each other. And this is also a rare kind of profession to combine multiple things in one, you know,
Mm. Yeah,
because
do you
it's a
think,
multicultural kind of
do you think it
project.
is necessary, this high level of instruments and the deep understanding to make this kind of music, to bring together this kind of instruments in this way?
Well, for me, yes, definitely. It's in general. I don't think it's like generally it exists, and people mix instruments from different cultures a lot. And but my thing, my point is not to mix the different instruments in one musical project. My goal is to kind of create a new folklore, let's say, like new kind of folklore, which is a mixture of, or essential part, like each folklore, each traditional music has its own flavor, or let's say its own roots, and you know, it sounds in a particular way. But for me, as the Russian, we unfortunately we lost our traditional music here, or let's say it was destroyed. We don't have authentic folklore anymore. We only have folklorism, and we have only people who are kind of recovering these songs from recordings, and they singing them in a traditional way. But we lost the culture, you know. But that is very unfortunate, and every person, every country needs roots, and I had this urge for, you know, to find my roots from very early age, let's say. And since I cannot find these roots in my country, like in a traditional way, I started to create myself some kind of inner folklore. I call it inner folklore, and it's kind of folklore. I play folklore music, but it's my own folklore. Let's say it this way.
But I think to losing losing the roots is going around.
And
Can I say, losing the roots is going around the world, yeah? And I am friend, for example, with Sanko Namchilak, you know, the singer Sanko Namchilak from...
Sanko, yes, I know her, of course, yes.
She told me, for example, that she was learning in Moscow in a music school where she learned 20 different kinds of folk music all over the Russian country. I think maybe compared with Austria and Germany, where we have really completely commercial folk, yeah, completely commercial, maybe Russia still is more into the tradition. I am also a good friend with Otavayo from Petersburg. These musicians, I think they do a very interesting music, folk music. Yeah, my meaning.
Right. Yeah, I agree in the way that we have a lot of minorities in Russia. Like we have a lot of different nationalities in Russia, and some of them are really well preserved their traditional music, but not Russians, unfortunately. All this, you know, Sanko is a part of Tuva and Tuvan music, and in Tuva, traditional music is really big. They managed to recover it in a really good way. It's blossoming. It's really going well. There's some minorities who was also lucky like this, like much more lucky, and they have their traditional music, but not Russians. And for Russians, is the situation is more kind of, you know, is much worse. than for Tuvans, for example.
Okay.
Yeah, I was in Tuva. I was playing on their festivals, and there's a stadium in Kizil city,
Yeah.
and only trot singers are performing in the center of the stadium. Like, let's say one guy with chanze singing, and the stadium is full of young people, and they're screaming, they're going crazy over this, you know. And this is amazing to see. Like, you cannot see that in Russian folklore music. Russian folklore events are very, very small if they are organized, and they are like kind of, you know, they're not well funded, and so on. So Tuva is different thing, you know. They're still good.
So when we have the concert on the 1st of November, 1st of September, sorry.
Yes.
We will listen to a music of a synthesis, a mix of a lot of different folk music, but it is an authentic thing of 3 very strong personalities from different countries. Is it right like this? Can I say it like this?
I think you described this very well. I agree with that definition. And we are not trying to, you know, to kind of mimic or, you know, to emulate some particular music from India, from Africa, or from whatever else. This is not the goal. We're playing my own compositions, and those are not part of any tradition, but we use elements of these traditions as a language. And also we use our own kind of, you know, approach to the music. This is like mixture of everything, you know, fusion, jazz, traditional music, you know, Russian music, because we use all kinds of instruments, like, you know, Arabian instruments, Indian instruments, Celtic instruments, Russian instruments, Armenian instruments, Siberian instruments, and modern instrument. So it's like fusion, and this fusion, like what I'm trying to do is to make it to sound like traditional music, but let's say this is traditional music from some kind of imaginary country.
But represent this and played by very authentic persons. Otherwise, it doesn't work. I think
something like
you
this.
can listen to this.
Something like that.
Okay. So I thank you very much that you took time in your mountains to talk with us. And I'm really looking forward, and I'm very interested and very curious about the concert on the 1st of September here in our place. Yeah.
I'm very, very much looking forward to. Thank you for inviting us, and thank you to make this happen. Thanks for this interview. And I'm glad it worked, because the connection here is really, really weak. So it was lucky.
But I think the people will understand the most important parts. I think so, yeah.
Right.
Goodbye, yeah. Ciao. Have a good time.